Dragon Ball has been one of my favorite franchises since I was 8 years old, when Dragon Ball Z Kai came out in the US in 2010. Since then, I've watched all the shows, watched all the movies, played most of the games, including the card game, and even got a Dragon Ball tattoo on my forearm. Oh, and let's not even mention my favorite Pokemon is based on the same thing as Goku. So it was incredibly sad to hear that Akira Toriyama, the creator of Dragon Ball, had passed away on March 1st, 2024. Many lovers of Dragon Ball, and all of his other works too, have made amazing videos, artwork, and more to honor his life throughout the past month. So today, I'm gonna do the same, combining two things I love, and turning Dragon Ball characters into Pokemon. I personally have been wanting to do this specific video for a while, but now, in honor of one of my favorite franchises and an amazing man, it feels like the time to finally do it. So let's get started. And what better way to start this than with my greatest personal tribute to Toriyama, my dog, Nimbus, named after the Nimbus cloud from the original Dragon Ball series. I named him this, 1, because he's a fluffy corgi, like a fluffy cloud, and 2, because the flying Nimbus is loyal and always comes to you when you call its name, just like I knew Nimbus would be when I adopted him. So let's do just that. I'll turn the Nimbus Cloud into a loyal dog Pokemon. Of course, with any Pokemon, the concept has to make sense. So instead of making the flying Nimbus a corgi for no reason other than my own personal reason, I decided to base it off the Chow Chow instead, which is Chinese in origin. This actually connects the breed of dog to the flying Nimbus, as the cloud itself originates from the folktale Journey to the West, which is also Chinese in origin. It also works well because the Chow Chow is insanely fluffy and wrinkly, which is alluded to by the lines that show the fluffiness of its cloudy body. The colors are the same as the Nimbus Cloud, with the sky blue eyes to contrast, and white fluff to resemble a collar-like pattern around its neck, as well as being the color of the tail to balance out the design. After some final renders though, here comes... Flying Nimbus! In comes Nimbark, the fluffy Pokemon, a pure flying type. Naturally, it has the Fluffy ability, but also Cloud 9, and Wind Rider as its hidden ability. Nimbark are one of the most loyal partners a trainer can have. With a shout of its name, a Nimbark will return to its trainer immediately. They're also very fast. On a windy day, they're even able to reach the speed of sound. While most people who try to ride Nimbark pass right through its cloudy body, it's been recorded that those with a pure heart are able to ride it. It's currently unknown how Nimbark discerns who is worthy. Nimbark's name is pretty simple, and comes from Nimbus and Bark. The shiny form takes on a pretty sky blue color, while the eyes change to a light green. Even though I love the Nimbus Cloud enough to name my dog after it, I don't think I can call it one of my favorite characters. That being said, one of my all-time favorites is absolutely Piccolo. Piccolo is an alien from the planet Namek, known as a Namekian. He's part of the main cast and been around even longer than Vegeta. Anyway, something that I have to get into, I'm not going to give this Piccolo Pokemon the fighting type. I mean, if I made all these new Pokemon as accurate as possible to their Dragon Ball counterparts, they would basically all be humanoid fighting types, except for the Nimbus Cloud. So I'm going to try to focus on other aspects to Pokemonify these characters a bit more, and analyze their traits that aren't just fighting ability. With that being said, the Namekians take large inspiration from slugs, with the name Namek coming from Namekuji, the Japanese word for slug. One Namekian is literally named Lord Slug, and another is named Nail, like snail. So it's definitely gonna be a bug type. For the secondary typing though, I chose the psychic type. The Namekians have the ability to perform telekinesis and telepathy, and Piccolo's special technique even involves him touching his head to charge up. So let's turn his alien antenna into actual antenna that are used for psychic abilities. I started off with a quick sketch of what I wanted to see, and then got to work on the face. The Namekians, and especially Piccolo, have a pretty stoic expression, so this guy had to have one as well. The white protrusions above its eyes are meant to reference Piccolo's head wrapping, but also his spiky ears. I'm using the Calerpa slug as my specific inspiration, since it's a bright green like Piccolo is, so the body shape is pretty stout to match. This Pokemon will have antenna-like appendages, both to look like real slug eyes and also play into that telepathy psychic theme. The rest of the patterns are just there to make it look more like Piccolo, and the colors show this off perfectly, with the pink and purple working great for the psychic type. In comes Namek, the signal Pokemon, a bug and psychic type. It seems as if this Pokemon has come from outer space. It uses the antenna on its head to send messages to other Signamek, and the antenna on its tail to receive messages. It can use its mastery over signaling and psychic power to invade the minds of its foes and disorient them. It's thought that the first Signamek to arrive on Earth came to conquer the planet, but failed, and now a species lives as regular Pokemon on Earth. As Signamek all look toward the same direction in the sky when sending signals, it's thought that there is a planet of Signamek light years away. It has the telepathy ability, and also gooey like Gumi. It has Regenerator as a hidden ability to reference Piccolo's ability to do that. The shiny form is meant to reference the more washed out look of older Namekians, and the name comes from Signal and Namek, which I'm sure you know already. But what do you think? Personally, I love this little guy. Sure, it isn't Piccolo the Z fighter, but I do think it's definitely Piccolo the character, and absolutely gives off little green Martian vibes. And to wrap back around to its Slug inspiration, the Callirpa Slug is literally also known as the Little Green Martian Slug, so there you go. Before we get to the next two Pokemon, I want to take a sec to say that I really appreciate everyone who watches these videos, and if you want to show appreciation back, you can do so by leaving a like and subscribing for more content from me. You can also become one of the first Dominadoodle YouTube members for as little as $1 a month by going down and clicking that membership button. Finally, leave a comment with whatever you want to say, because I try to respond to all of them, and I love interacting with you guys. Even made a few friends, you know who you are. Self-promo out of the way though, it's finally time for the Fakemon you've all been waiting for. The most important part of the franchise, the Dragonballs themselves. That's right, you thought I'd make a Goku Pokemon, but no. The next Pokemon will be based on the namesake of the series, a Dragon Ball. That'll evolve into the mystical dragon Shenron. To make this evolution make sense though, the Dragon Ball will essentially act as an egg, with a small dragon inside it to represent the stars within the Dragon Balls. The overall look will be similar to the look of a mosquito in amber, with the Dragon Balls being that same amber color, so it works well. When designing the Dragon Ball Pokemon, the most important aspect was to give the baby dragon a star-shaped design, without being too on the nose with the star shape. I also wanted to clearly show off the fact that this is a baby dragon in his little eggshell, so he's as round and cute as I can make him. The little horns on the head help with that pointy star shape, and will become some nice big ones in the evolution. The body is red to mimic the Dragon Ball stars, with tan accents to break up the body. I couldn't decide if I wanted to make the eyes black or any other color, but I decided black worked best in the end. But with its Dragon Ball shell, prepare to meet Dorba, the shelled Pokemon, a pure dragon type. Dorba are very rare creatures that, when in a group of 6, are able to combine their power to grant someone a wish. When a wish is granted, however, the shell around them vanishes and the released Dorba cannot grant another wish until their shell reforms, which takes 1 year. This lore can be seen in this new signature ability, Wish Shell. When Dorba in its shelled form is attacked, it doesn't take damage, like Ice-Q's Ice Face. It also gets a free wish, like the move Wish, which restores HP after a turn. And with its shell broken, Dorba becomes its released form, which swaps its defensive and offensive stats. Once released, it will remain released until the end of the battle. Now that you can see it clearly, the shiny form alludes to its inspiration, being Shenron's green color. Finally, the name Dorba is a play on the Japanese title of Dragon Ball, Dragonballz, while also having the word orb in it, which Dorba clearly is, and even adorable, which Dorba also clearly is. I gave this Pokemon lore to match the actual Dragon Balls as close as I could, while still making a little sense in the Pokemon world. Technically, when the Dragon Balls are used, they become stone for a year, but I just wanted a reason for Dorba to be seen without the orange from the shell around its body. I also decided that to grant a wish, you would need 6 rare Dorba rather than 7, because 6 is the maximum party number in Pokemon. Speaking of though, this directly correlates with its evolution method. With a full party of 6 Dorba, level up the one at the front of your party and they'll combine and evolve into Shenegai, from Shenron and Negai, the Japanese word for wish. Shenegai are very rare and powerful creatures that turn the sky black when they appear. They have the power to grant almost any wish, with very few being outside of their power. Like Dorba, it has the ability Wish Shell, as upon evolution it fuses with its shell to create something that behaves like an armor, which, when attacked, grants the Pokemon a wish as it switches to its released form, where, once again, it becomes more offensive and speedy. I did want to make the base design green to match Shenron since that's what it's based off of, but for the sake of the Pokemon itself, I didn't think Dorba's red becoming a lime green worked very well, so I had the shiny be that color instead. When designing Shenagai, I really wanted to make sure that it was clear that this Pokemon evolved from Dorba, even though it's clearly very different. So the head is extra star-shaped to get this point across. The hair around its head is meant to symbolize age, while also being present on Shenron's design. The horns are also more reminiscent of Purunga rather than Shenron, but I like the way the shiny black horns look on the design. To symbolize that this Pokemon has a lot more power, rather than a star shape for the body, I had it twist in such a way that it resembles an infinity sign, as if this Pokemon has infinite power. You can see the 5 other Dragon Balls at the base, with the 6th being that golden color all around its body, which of course shatters when activating the Wish Shell ability. I like to think that when this Pokemon flies around, the Dragon Balls actually look somewhat like Dragonaire's tail, except with 5 orbs instead of 2, which also reminds me of a rattlesnake tail. So finally, I omitted this Pokemon's arms to sell that snake inspiration just a little bit more. It suffers a little bit from just a dragon syndrome, but I tried my best. And with that, I have made 4 Dragon Ball inspired Pokemon. Dragon Ball and Pokemon both hold special places in my heart, and I'm so happy that I got to combine the two today. Again, these designs are in honor of Akira Toriyama and the amazing story he crafted, and I would love to hear some thoughts from all of my fellow Dragon Ball fans. With that said though, thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see ya in the next one. Mwah. Bye bye.